Hello! Today I thought we could talk a little bit about how we're gonna get through this last little bit of winter. And I want to talk about this because a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, I had a comment on Instagram where one of you wanted me to talk a little bit about how I cope with winter. And I know there's not much left of it, but without being a spoilsport here in Sweden, at least we have a month, maybe two left of cold and wet and dark. So I wanted to share my 7 tips or 7 things I do which keeps me uplifted and going throughout winter. So let's just dive straight into it. So the first thing that's proven really important for me is having a regular sleeping pattern. So more or less going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. I must admit, I don't always manage to do this, but when I do, I feel better, and it helps me get up in the morning during these months where it's darker and it's harder to get going in the morning. Then my body clock has this innate feeling that it knows that, okay, this is the time I need to wake up. And then when I wake up, having a routine where I know exactly what things I'm gonna do helps also with getting going and not getting bogged down by the darkness outside. That can be waking up and straight away maybe doing some movement or making some tea. For me, I like to get up and do some exercise, maybe yoga, center myself and get into a good mind space, and then I definitely always have breakfast. Breakfast is like my top thing in the morning. It's what I look forward to when I wake up. The second thing that really helps me stay bright and light throughout winter is going outside during the light hours. So getting fresh air, and even if the sun is not out, going outside is always so much brighter than being inside. So having that light around you, having that fresh air and space around you really gives a boost, I think, or at least it does that for me. And I always say that it's great to be somewhere where the sky is literally the limit. The third thing, which can somewhat be hand in hand with the part about going outside, is to stay active, get moving, do some exercise. You know, exercise gives you those feel-good hormones. So while we can feel a little bit down or a little bit depressed even in winter, going to exercise and moving your body can get those good feelings flowing. And it's also a good way to get warm and also to still feel limber in this colder months where we often tense up and we get tense around our shoulders. So keeping active and opening up those areas really makes me feel good. So of course I have to sneak some food in here because it's important and I love it. And the fourth thing that is important to me in winter is to eat warming foods. It makes sense when it's cold outside to eat something that warms us up from the inside. And I also like incorporating a lot of seasonal foods throughout the year, but in winter I especially like eating a lot of root vegetables. They make me feel grounded and they're sort of a very filling food that makes me feel fuzzy and warm inside. And they lend themselves really well to stews and soups and curries, which are exactly the types of things I like to eat in winter. And to brighten things up and give things a little bit more of a spark, I like to use warming spices like cumin, paprika, curry powder. Yeah, the list goes on, to bring some of that, a bit of more brightness to the food, but also that warming feeling. So the fifth thing on my list is drinking hot drinks. And I like to drink hot drinks pretty much all throughout the year. But in winter, there's just something special about coming in from outside and holding on to a warm cup of tea, or if you drink coffee, a coffee, or a turmeric latte, or a matcha latte, or a hot chocolate. And hot chocolate specifically is my sort of favorite winter hot drink. It's just something that comes in abundance in my life during the winter. And I thought I could share a quick little recipe with you guys for a really tasty but quite wholesome hot chocolate. To make the hot chocolate, I start by pouring oat milk into the glass that I'm going to use, or the cup, and then I pour that into the blender. To sweeten the drink, I'm using dates. I just take a date and then pit it. Then when it's pitted, I just pop it into the blender as well. Then to make the drink extra creamy, I like to add some nut butter. And you can use any nut butter you like. Obviously, the drink will take some flavor from the one you choose. Then of course we have to add some cocoa powder or cacao powder to make it chocolatey. I use about 1 tablespoon per person. Then if you want to make it a little bit extra, you could add some cinnamon or cardamom. I just add a tiny little bit, like that, and then we blend it. So once it's all blended smooth, I just pour it into a saucepan and heat it up. And then when it's hot, you just pour it into the glass again and enjoy. The 6th point on my list should probably actually be the first point, because I think it's really important, and it's to rest and allow yourself to rest. In winter, we are more tired. It is dark, it's cold, and we feel a bit more heavy, so it's only natural that we want to take some time off and slow down. Allow yourself to do that. I think something that's really nice to do maybe once or twice a day is just to roll out my yoga mat and lie down on it and just close my eyes and take some moments to rest on my mat. Or if you're at work and you feel this kind of heaviness, maybe just take 1 minute to close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and just focus on the breathing. And then I'm pretty certain you'll feel a little bit more grounded, but also uplifted to continue with your day. And something that I really like to do when I'm feeling those long, dark days is to have power naps. Allow yourself to take a power nap. My final point goes maybe against my last point, but I think it also can go hand in hand, and it's to stay social. In winter, it's really easy to sort of isolate yourself because you don't really feel like going out. You don't feel super like a social butterfly that just wants to spread out and do a lot of things. But it can be very isolating to isolate yourself. So we can also feel lonely, and if you feel a little bit down during winter, then I think it's not a great idea to isolate yourself from the people around you. So, I mean, curate your time well, but take some time out to see your friends, speak to your family, stay connected. I think it can be restful to be with people that you really like. And you don't have to do the things that you do in other seasons. Maybe you just meet for a quick walk in nature, or you can have dinner together, or whatever else you like to do. So those were my 7 things I do to stay centered, uplifted, and going in winter. I hope that this was of some value to you, and I look forward to sharing more videos with you soon. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!